Did your trips to Pandora leave the impression that you were revisiting a fully formed world? If so, that sense emerged by meticulously developed design, not chance. Taking a skimwing from Reef World to Bridgehead and beyond, TF writer Tara Bennett draws on insights from James Cameron and the film's production designers to plot a visual roadmap. Says forward writer Robert Rodriguez, to Pandora's realization. And wherever the map goes, one point holds firm: it's not enough, says production designer Ben Proctor, for something just to look cool. As Bennett writes, pre-production began before scripts were ready, enabling writers and world builders to engage in a fertile ideas exchange. Cameron gave instructions, some specific, some open to elaboration. For the oceanic arenas, he wanted reef worlds, apex predators, a benign dolphin equivalent metaphor, and more. I knew that I wanted there to be, essentially, a giant flying fish, he says, fixing Piranha II's flaws decades on. Whichever way the sea life soars, Bennett reels in the methods behind the magic. Proctor and fellow production designer Dylan Cole's ideas had to act as if they were scientific fact, says producer John Landau. Costume designer Deborah L. Scott's work needed to splice form with function. The imagery needed instant emotional clout and conceptual coherence, so that Cameron did not need to pause the action to justify anything the audience sees. And the sets needed to be practical. Cameron needed something to shoot on, after all. Contemplated on page, the lived-in structural qualities of the suspended reef dwellings become clear. Scott's clothing and jewelry possess tactile as well as decorative qualities, inspired by beachcombing in New Zealand. The RDA camps and airships, meanwhile, combine Cameron's go big or go home philosophy with military tech, carefully plotted developments from Avatar, and narrative impact. The Sea Dragon was the story's Death Star, Bridgehead the Sky People, showing off. A sort of F.U. AWA, jokes Proctor. Along the way, Bennett unpicks the looks of characters, creatures and crab suits to show how Cameron drew on real-world logic for conviction. The detailing is ingenious and more, it has a meticulous integrity, nurtured to fruition lovingly. Not for nothing was Cole in tears when he saw the Reef Village designs in action, after half a decade of work. And if these insights leave you craving a return to Na'vi land, more good news awaits. Straight from the water horse's mouth, we've only begun, Cole promises, to explore Pandora. In a world exclusive, The Way of Water producer John Landau tells us what to expect from Avatar 3. The titanic finale of Avatar The Way of Water had it all. A tragic death, an unexpected father-son rescue, and an obnoxious Australian shouting, "Get wet." But for all the revelations, Tolkien points, if you will. It also provides big clues to the future of the series. And with the film fast approaching $2 billion at the box office at the time of going to press, it's safe to say that fans are invested in that future. Hopefully, The Way of Water came to its own conclusion, as I think each movie will, says producer John Landau. But they do set things up because we get more and more invested in these characters. Where does Kiri go? What is Lo'ak up to? What decisions will Jake and Neytiri have to make? All of those things will continue to drive our story. Overhanging the family is the death of the Sully's eldest son, Neteyam. I thought it was classic Jim just to do the unconventional, says Landau about Neteyam's demise. They come together as a family, but they now have to live with the guilt one might feel as a parent or as a sibling. Zoe did such a phenomenal job in that scene. How long does that loss stay with her as a mother? How do you overcome that? Yet perhaps the biggest emerging story question lies in Kiri's ability to manipulate nature as she summons sea creatures to rescue Neytiri and her sister Tuk. I don't think going into that moment knew she could do that, says Landau. But she did it. Going forward, How does this awkward 14-year-old girl come to terms with that? Landau won't be drawn on the mystery of who Kiri's father is, if there indeed is one, but is more forthcoming on the film's other daddy issue. Spider wrestling with the discovery he is the son of Marine-turned-Avatar Miles Quaritch. Spider has never really had a family and he's been searching for that. In Quaritch 2.0, he can't help but see a father he never knew, a kindred spirit. When Spider saves him, it was not an easy decision. He's really torn inside, so we use the one F word we're allowed. It's also possible Quaritch's relationship with Spider will bring about a transformation in Avatar's big bad. What can he learn from Spider? Suggests Landau. Does he start to see Pandora differently? Jake did. Expect Quaritch's employers, the RDA, led by Edie Falco's General Ardmore, to continue making Pandora a new home for humanity. Way of Water was Quaritch's vendetta, but Ardmore's or the RDA's goals have not changed, and Brendan Cowell's already iconic oceanic hunter Mick Scoresby will return, despite losing an arm. To bark orders at minions. Happily, the heart-stealing Tulkun Payakan will remain a fixture. We view Payakan as a character, not just as a creature, says Landau. We will continue to explore his relationship with Loak. But just as Cameron and Landau are bringing characters, creatures and tech from film to film, they are also introducing new locales and clans. In Part 3, we will meet the Ash people, an aggressive, volcanic race of people led by Varang, played by Game of Thrones Una Chaplin. Part 3 flips the script, presenting the Na'vi for the first time as antagonists, with the Sky People couched in a more positive light. For Landau it goes further. There are good humans, and there are bad humans, the same thing on the Na'vi side, but oftentimes, people don't see themselves as bad. What is the root cause of how they evolve into what we perceive as bad? Maybe there are other factors there that we're not aware of. After a big time jump in Avatar 4, the final film will come to Earth. The series' only previous glimpse of our planet has been in deleted scenes from the first film, presenting it as a stark dystopia. There's overpopulation, and a depletion of our natural resources that make life harder, confirms Landau. But we don't want to paint a bleak picture for where our world is going. The films are also about the idea that we can change course. Wherever the series goes, one larger-than-life figure won't be making an appearance. Vin Diesel, long mooted to have a role in the saga, will not join the cast. Vin was a fan, reveals Landau. He came in, visited the set one day to see what we were doing, and people took that out of context. It's perhaps for the best. How many families can one man belong to?